Hello everyone, hope you're doing well and are safe. My name is Maham Khalid and I'll be your faculty for this chapter, The Crisis of Democratic Order, class 12th. Okay. Now, in this chapter, we are going to explore about the emergency era that happened to take place in India in 1975 till 1977 and how it turned out to be a constitutional crisis. Now, I'm saying it as a constitutional crisis because during this time, Supreme Court tried to highlight numerous issues in the initiatives that were taken by the government. Okay, and the government was not following each and everything according to the constitution. Okay, now, this was the period, it was witnessed the suspension of civil liberties, it witnessed press censorship. Now, from press censorship means that there was no freedom of speech and expression at this time. There were mass arrests that happened to take place, okay? And apparently, there was a constitutional battle between the parliament and the judiciary. So, the parliament being जो apparent एक main government होती है, the functionings of it, and judiciary is something that is related to the constitution. Okay, and this led an indelible mark on Indian democracy, and this was the time which highlights multiple political turmoil, and it also significantly focuses on to the dissents against the ruling party, that was the Congress party at that time. Okay, now moving forward, we need to explore and understand that what was the background to emergency. Okay, in 1967, Indira Gandhi had emerged as a towering leader, someone who had a very prominent position. Okay, and she also had a vast number of support from the generic people and as well as from her party. So, this period also witnessed tensions in the relationship between the government and the judiciary. Then there was a split that happened to take place in Congress, which further sharpened the division between Indira Gandhi as a prominent leader and her opponents, the ones who did not believe in her ideology. Okay. The second issue was that of the Naxalite movement. Now, the Naxalite movement was the Marxist Leninist groups, particularly were active in West Bengal. Okay, and they happened to challenge the capitalist order, leading to the state government crackdowns. Okay, so in the elections of 1971, Congress apparently gave a slogan of Garibi Hatao, that means remove poverty. But the social and economic condition in the country did not improve even till 1972. Okay, so even after 2 years, the government was not able to improve the scenario. Agar unemployment thi, so it was right there in the face. Okay, then after the Bangladesh crisis, the US completely stopped giving all the aid to India. There was no support given to India, and the prices increased by 23% in 1973 and by 30% in 1974. That caused much hardship to the people. Okay, now the Marxist Leninist groups, side by side, they were trying to take arms, they were trying to take up insurgent techniques, and they also wanted to establish their own political system. Okay, so it also became very difficult to maintain law and order in the country. Now, already we were suffering low industrial growth, the prices were rising, there was inflation, the monsoons failed, which apparently led to agricultural decline also. And on top of that, there was now currently Maoist groups that were earlier known as Naxalites. They happened to establish their own political system. Okay, so these were all the issues that India as a country was witnessing in 1970s till 1972 or 1973. Okay, now there were coming to Jay Prakash Narayan and called for Satyagrah. Now, Jay Prakash Narayan organized the first nationwide Satyagrah, demanding the Indira Gandhi's resignation amidst the growing discontent. Okay, because there were a number of students also who were coming together. They were trying to protest against the rising prices. Like the number of people, the population of country, India has always been high. Okay, and there was food scarcity, which means that people did not even had enough food to consume. There was unemployment. There was corruption. Okay, and after a point the students happened to like invite Jay Prakash Narayan to lead this students movement. Okay, now Jay Prakash Narayan gave a call for a total revolution. Satyagrah means such ke basis pe revolution, so like a total revolution in the social, economic and political spheres in order to establish what he considered to be a true democracy. और इसके पीछे मेन आइडियोलॉजी जो थी वो ये थी that Congress should be defeated in the upcoming elections, which were supposed to take place in 1975. Okay, और protest जो हो रहा था that was taking place in 1974. So in the 1975, Jay Prakash Narayan led a people's march to the parliament, and he had now support of the non-Congress opposition parties like the Bharatiya Jan Sangh, Bharatiya Lok Dal, the Socialist parties, and different other parties. Okay, and ultimately there was the Jay Prakash Narayan urged the citizens to defy illegal and immoral orders, and like he was using the civil disobedience as a tool against governmental overreach. Okay, so whatever mishaps were taking place on the part of Indira Gandhi's government, Jay Prakash Narayan was trying to raise his voice against them. Okay, so Indira Gandhi's elections was challenged in court with allegations of using government servants for election campaigns, adding to the political turmoil. So there were a lot of issues that were found in the campaigning style of the Indira Gandhi as well, and there were a number of issues that were discussed in the courts. Now coming to the railway strike of 1974. The National Coordination Committee for Railway Men's Struggle, led by George Fernandez, it aimed and it gave a call for the nationwide strike by all employees of the railways for pressing their demands related to bonus and service conditions. Okay, so bonus and service conditions was the issue. The strike came to be known as the Railway Strike of 1974. It was led by National Coordination Committee that was led by George Fernandez. Okay. Now, what was the government response? The government declared the strike as illegal, and they deployed territorial army to protect railway trades, and it further escalated the conflict because these were the people, they were just trying to like highlight the issues that were faced by them. They were demanding a bonus or whatever services they were trying to provide, they just wanted reimbursements for that. Okay, now despite lasting 20 days, the strike was called off without any settlement with the government, highlighting the government's firm stance. Okay, so the government completely ordered that the strike had to be called off. Okay, and there is no settlement that is going to take place. So this also tried to highlight that how dominant the government was, and in democracy the dominance of the government doesn't work. Okay, this democracy, the independence that we have received from the British, it did not came to us very easily. Okay, so we should not take it for granted. Even till date, if the government is not doing something good for the people, like the people, they very much have the right to come up and in or like they have the right to highlight also. that this is not happening and this is not good for the country. Okay. Now let's discuss that what was the conflict with judiciary. Now government and the ruling party, that was the Congress party, they had many differences with the judiciary. Okay. So the court said that the parliament cannot amend the constitution in such a manner that the rights are curtailed, which means that there cannot be any changes made in the constitution in any manner जिसमें लोगों के बेसिक राइट्स जो हैं वो कर्टेल हो जाएं, उन पे कोई रुकावट आ जाए. The parliament amended the constitution saying that it can abridge fundamental rights for giving effect to directive principles. और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इस प्रोविजन को भी रिजेक्ट कर दिया. Now coming to the case of Keshwanath Bharti case, which is very much mentioned here, the judiciary declared that the parliament cannot amend constitutional basic features in a controversial manner, which means that no matter what kind of power parliament has, लेकिन जो constitution के basic features हैं that are given in order to limit the governmental power, और उसको आप edit नहीं कर सकते basically. So in 1973, in Keshav Nanda Bharti case, the government set aside the practice to appoint the senior most judge of the Supreme Court as the Chief Justice and appointed Justice A.N. Ray as the Chief Justice of India. Thus, constitutional interpretations and political ideologies were getting mixed up rapidly. So here we can clearly see there were a lot of changes that were taking place during this time. और हर चीज जो है that was aiming towards capturing as much as power the party at that time they could garner. Okay, तो जितना भी control था वो सब ruling party अपने हाथ में चाह रही थी. They did not want any, like they want their own people in the functioning, in the machinery, in the government machinery. तो अपेरेंटली देयर वर मल्टीपल डिस्प्यूट्स आल्सो जो गवर्नमेंट और जुडिशरी के बीच में हुए ड्यूरिंग 1971, 1972, 1973. सो नाउ इमेजिन अ कंट्री जो इकोनॉमिक क्राइसिस के थ्रू स्ट्रगल कर रही है. देयर इज अ कंट्री जहाँ पे एक बहुत ही पावरफुल फीमेल लीडर है, बट एवरीथिंग इज एम्ड टुवर्ड्स कैप्चरिंग पावर, or there are railway strikes going on, and like multiple issues that were happened to take place simultaneously. So this was not a very what should I say, very very smooth period in history. Okay. Now coming to the declaration of emergency, the most important part. On 12th June 1975, the Allahabad High Court passed a judgment declaring Indira Gandhi's election to the Lok Sabha as invalid. Now apparently main focus जो था वो elections पे ही था. Like the Congress party, they wanted to gain power, और जय प्रकाश नारायण की पार्टी जो है with the student support, with the generic support, उनका main aim ये था कि कांग्रेस जो है वो power में नहीं आ रही. So when Allahabad High Court passed a judgment declaring that Indira Gandhi's election to Lok Sabha are invalid, this order came on an election petition filed by Raj Narayan, who was a socialist leader and a candidate who had contested against her in 1971. Okay, so on 25th June 1975, Jay Prakash Narayan announced a nationwide satyagrah for Indira Gandhi's resignation and asked the army, the police, and the government employees not to obey illegal and immoral orders. Okay. Now the government invoked Article 352 of the Constitution and declared a state of emergency, citing the threat of the internal disturbances. So they said that the aim was to restore the order. मतलब जो भी कुछ mishap हो रहा है country में, protests हो रही हैं, strikes हो रहा है, तो this is causing an internal disturbance in the country, और इसको कंट्रोल करने के लिए जो है वो इमरजेंसी इंट्रोड्यूस करी जा रही है. सो दिस वाज द रीजन that was given by the like the political party. Okay, so apparently the prime minister recommended the imposition of emergency to President Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad at that time. And once an emergency is proclaimed, the federal distribution of powers remains practically suspended, and all the powers are concentrated in the hands of the union government. Okay, so whatever the things happen to take place at that time, जो भी कुछ गवर्नमेंट की फंक्शनिंग थी या जो भी गवर्नमेंट रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस थे, वो इमरजेंसी के टाइम पे नहीं अप्लाई होते. ओके, तो इमरजेंसी में सिविल लिबर्टी सस्पेंड हुई, एग्जीक्यूटिव जुडिशियरी डायनामिक्स सस्पेंड हुए, प्रेस सेंसरशिप हुई, फंडामेंटल राइट्स जो हैं वो कर्टेल कर दिए जाते हैं, and everything, each and every kind of power was in the hands of the union government. Okay, there were large number of leaders and workers of the opposition parties that were also arrested. Okay, so there were mass arrests, and the containment of the citizen rights to life and liberty marked a severe blow. Okay, then there were the 42nd Amendment altered constitutional provisions. Okay, expanding government control was an important feature. Press censorship means that mass media face stringent censorship, suppressing dissent, any voice, okay, any voice that the newspaper were trying to highlight or anything against the government, the newspapers, the news channels, they were not able to, like raise their voice. Okay, and the public was also limited, given the limited access to information. So in order to retaliate this, what did the newspaper started doing? Can you? I think you can see the image here. So here are blank black boxes. So this was an initiative taken by the newspapers when they were not able to print the information related to the emergency. They started leaving these black boxes, and which highlighted that all these news pieces were related to the emergency, and the government was not allowing them to print this. That is why they are leaving these boxes as blank. Okay, which was another way of raising their voice, which was another form of protesting. Now, what were the consequences of the emergency? Now, emergency brought agitation. Okay, the strikes were banned. The opposition leaders were put in jail. The political situation became very tense in the country, and the government also suspended the freedom of the press. So the government banned Rashtriya Swami Sevak Sangh. They banned Jamaat-e Islami. Then fundamental rights of the citizens were suspended. There was extensive use of preventive detention, which means that the political workers, they could not even challenge their arrest. The high courts and the supreme courts, they were filled with petitions. There were many political workers who were not arrested in the first wave. They tried to hide themselves, they went underground, but they started organizing protests against the government. There were many journalists also that were arrested for writing against the emergency. However, there were multiple journalists who started writing newsletters, leaflets, in order to bypass the censorship. Okay. Now, coming to the controversies regarding the emergency, there was investigation that was done by Shah Commission after the emergency was found out, and there were multiple questions related to it. Firstly, that whether the Communist Party of India believed that there was an international conspiracy against the unity of India, okay, and it believed that in such circumstances, some restrictions on agitations were justified, okay. Then the government argued that the opposition party must allow elected ruling party to govern according to its policies. Okay. However, people should have the right, if they're feeling that something is not done properly, then the people should have the right to raise their voice. Okay. And there were multiple critics who say that Indira Gandhi misused the whole constitutional provision that was meant for saving the country, and like she misused the power in order to save her own personal agenda of power. Okay. Now, what are the legacy and the lessons that we have learned from the emergency? Firstly, the emergency brought out both weaknesses and the strengths of India's democracy. It taught us that in an extremely difficult situation, uh, one must focus on democracy and democratic features. Secondly, it gave the necessary advice to the proclaimed emergency in writing by the president, by council of ministers. So the whole procedure of implementing an emergency was re-revised. Okay. And thirdly, it made everyone more aware of the civil liberties. Like I told you earlier, that there are, like our civil liberties, the rights that have been given to us by our constitution, they are of extreme value. Okay. So the when emergency happened to take place, it taught us about the resilience of democracy, the necessity of procedural safeguards, which means that if a prime minister they want to impose an emergency, they should give it in a written form. एक काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स होना चाहिए और प्रेसिडेंट को रिटन फॉर्म में जाना चाहिए, एक रिटन एडवाइस इशू होनी चाहिए, अगर सब अग्री करते हैं तो इमरजेंसी इम्पोज होनी चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं कि आउट ऑफ द ब्लू प्राइम मिनिस्टर बीइंग द पर्सन holding great amount of power will come one fine day and will declare कि अच्छा ठीक है, we are imposing emergency. Okay. And also, the third, like I said, that the value of civil liberties was an important element and was an important lesson that we learned from the imposition of emergency in India. Okay, so this whole procedure was re-revised and was put in written form in the constitution. Now, coming to the politics after emergency, the Janata government came to power in 1977 elections, and after the elections there was a stiff competition among three leaders for the post of prime minister. Okay, one was Morarji Desai, second was Charan Singh, and third one was Jagjeevan Ram. And ultimately Morarji Desai became the prime minister. Now he became the prime minister, but he was not able to bring much power to the party. Okay, and ultimately the Janata Party split, and the government that was led by Morarji Desai, they lost its majority in less than 18 months. Okay, so this period also highlights a political crisis, because the party which was in power, it kind of split. Okay, and when a leadership is splitted, there is a suspension of democratic process also. और इस पीरियड की वजह से there were multiple tensions also between the democracy, like who is going to come into power, who is going to like take the lead. And this era is also known as to be the era of non-congressism, because post independence there was a time when the Congress party ruled for a very long time, and this was the this was the first time when a non-Congress party was able to take the lead, and this all happened due to the emergency that was imposed in India in a very havoc manner, सिर्फ personal power को protect करने के लिए introduce करा गया. So that's my time. Thank you. I hope that the chapter is clear to you.